fire sectors was voted the least used mechanic by the Graviteam community on this channel. And that is shocking to say the least. And I'm going to demonstrate why, because one, it's one of the most powerful mechanics. It allows combat power distribution. Two, it's a real world tactic that real militaries use. So it's a good concept to understand because you can apply it to both your video games and understand how to distribute your combat power. But before we get started, if you like military strategy, tactics, or doctrine and seeing it applied to strategy games, this is definitely the channel for you. So make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Check out the Patreon for free after action reports and hit that join button to join the book club because we are listening to Ghost Wars, and so far we're in chapter 2, and it has been a blast, at least for me, because it's Afghanistan, so it's always fun to listen to. All right, so we have 2 machine gun squads right here. We have our fire sectors over there on the left-hand side, as you can see. Each fire sector overlaps with the previous fire sector, so we're going to get a quick top-down view of this. As you can see, it's not as pretty as I would like it to be, but that's because we're on a small battlefield. So you see that our fire sector is pretty much engaging 1, 2, 3 units, and it extends pretty far beyond the map. All right, and as we set each fire sector up, we made sure that each one was going to overlap. Over here on the left-hand side, we have another machine gun platoon, currently with no fire sectors. So they're going to be not as effective in combat, but they will still be pretty effective. We need to understand that we are taking on 4 infantry platoons. Regardless, we needed additional combat power because just because you have the biggest kid on the block with the most bullets in your machine gun, 500 men is 500 men, and you need to reload at some point. We have a small platoon right here of infantry. These are our backup reserve forces, our main assault force. We actually have tanks in the background for our tank enthusiasts. As you can see, these units are going to join the fight as soon as they put some rounds downrange. So that's going to be a blast to see. So I was just shocked because people didn't really seem to utilize fire sectors, and it's just a foundation concept in all of, infantry, and everyone should use them in Graviteam Tactics, and we're going to see exactly why. We're going to see why these units are now facing and scanning these sectors, looking for hostile targets. And as you can see, we already have 2 squads popping green smoke, dead center of our fire sector, moving to assault this infantry position right here. We have 2 units over here. These units are not going to apply their combat power effectively. Right, you'll have 1 machine gun unit shooting off to the left. You'll have another machine gun unit shooting off straight forward, 1 to the right, 1 to the right, 1 to the right, and they're going to be firing all over the place. Whereas these units over here on the left-hand side are going to have a much more concentrated field of fire. As you can see, this whole area, roughly 500-600 meters, is going to be covered by machine gun fire. And you can use this for you can use this for infantry squads, you can use this for tank squads, you can use this for artillery squads to ensure that your sectors of fire are covered where you think the enemy is coming from. So if the enemy is coming from that area, you're going to concentrate your fire. And so that's why I was really shocked by the results of this poll. Because it's it's a basic foundational concept that we all need to both understand and employ effectively to have a successful combat operation. So right? So obviously these units over here, these infantry units are also engaging these. So we have machine gun fire over here on the right-hand side, as you can see, engaging this unit. But if we come down here, we can see that all units in this area, we have 1, 2 currently engaging that infantry platoon, both with machine gun fire and rifle fire. But now this unit over here is going to be engaged by this infantry squad off in the distance while they are all focused on this assaulting platoon over here, when this unit has this fire sector effectively covered and does not need, they're way off in the distance, does not need any fire support. So this is one area where we would need to manage this, right? So we would just break this off and we just extend this unit's fire sector like that. See if it lets us. It did not grab it. These units seem like out of the map over here, which is bothering me. I think they're retreating. Can we please change fire sectors, please? Alright, we lost our main commander, which is unfortunate. We're working on routing this unit, but we're going to bring our tanks up to engage that infantry platoon that's trying to flank us. Alright. Let's go check on this unit over here. They're currently engaging all kinds of units. They're mostly, as you can see, there's fire all around them, so they're not really super combat effective in this situation. I mean, we did unfortunately lose our commander right off the bat, which is always unfortunate. As you can see, our combat's going much smoother over here on this left-hand side. Unfortunately, I feel like this unit left the map for some reason. They're like not even in the combat zone. So they went way out of the way. Kind of a bummer there. Right. Not sure exactly what's going on. But still, we're still getting engaged. Like, remember how we said, like, we don't have a good dispersion of combat power right here. We have two massive infantry platoons attempting to assault our machine guns, and they're eventually going to be successful because they're going to wear us down. Right? And so that's why we have this infantry squad over here. This is why we have this tank platoon coming up the hillside to provide fire support for our units. So they're going to move into position. Once they're in position, they're going to begin their assault. Over here on the left-hand side, we can see that this unit is a bit more in disarray. Their fire sectors aren't really falling apart. They never even had any fire sectors. They're under heavy fire. They're not returning any fire. And if they had fire sectors, they would have been focusing further down range. As you can see, they've all just fallen apart over here on this right-hand side. Whereas this left-hand side is sustaining themselves far, 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 far better. They know where the enemy's coming from. They have that area covered. They're suppressing it. They have overlapping fire sectors. And it's overall, it's coming. That means we don't need to commit these tanks. Ideally, I committed these tanks because I saw what nonsense was going on over here on the left by them leaving the map. But what we need to do is we need to grab this infantry platoon now and commit them to this fight. So we're going to send them on assault because this whole machine gun platoon has completely fallen apart because they're not focused on where the enemy's coming from. Like, we could have rotated them, and they may have, but even without that, the commander is just a complete massacre over here. And this is why fire sectors are so important in the game. Alright, we have an infantry platoon slowly moving up. Our tanks are almost in position. Once they're in position, they're going to be engaging this last bit of infantry. As you can see, these units right here in the middle are beginning to gain ground. And just like that, the tanks are now engaging these infantry units. And they're going to further drive this unit back. They have machine guns, they have cannons. This infantry squad over here on this left-hand side is already completely destroyed. We do have some small contact right here. We haven't really suffered a lot of casualties comparatively to this side. These units aren't really returning any fire. They're kind of just sitting there. We do have a machine gun on deck, effectively laying down cover fire at last. He's deciding to engage all the infantry out in the distance. So this is mostly small arms fire, not really concentrated, not slowing anyone down. As you can see, the units over here are firing back. From the looks of this assault's pretty much been blanked. We are getting flanked over here on this left-hand side, which I'm not the biggest fan of. But it happens to the best of us. But that's just a quick little demonstration. I find this just really... I was really confused why the community wasn't using this mechanic, or why they didn't think it was useful when it's by far the most useful mechanic in the game, and it's one everyone should use and should learn how to use it and apply it tactically. Remember, you need to have your fire sectors overlapping. If your fire sectors do not overlap, then they're just not as effective, and you do not distribute combat power that well. Fire sectors also, your units will not only target units in this fire sector. There are ways to navigate them. I have a whole video on that. At certain ranges, eventually these units right here will disregard all enemies in this fire sector and begin engaging units over here. I believe it's 50 meters. And also if you assign someone a priority target in a different fire sector or outside of the fire sector, this unit will engage the priority target outside the fire sector. There's more info on that on the video. I'll track it down. This unit is slowly getting overran over here. As you can see, these squads are able to provide a lot of heavy fire onto this platoon that's completely fallen apart. While this one, with all the fire sectors, continues to remain combat effective. I mean, the infantry are slowly moving forward, but in a slower manner, and these units are able to continue to fight. But that's the video. Join the book club. Peace out, guys.